this was like a 4-year effort to make this movie. I thought it was going to be a 1-year effort, but it ended up taking about 4 years, but time flew by really quick, and it was a real fun process. But there were a lot of things that happened during the filming of this movie that just kept telling us we were on the right path. Back in 2007, in May of 2007, we flew to California and interviewed a guy by the name of Bobby Rock. He's this 200-pound bodybuilder. He's also vegan, and he has an appreciation for life. So I asked him to give me an example, and he was telling me a story of how just the other day, he said, just yesterday I was out jogging, and I came across a bee flipped over on its back. So I stopped, I grabbed a leaf, I extended it to the bee, flipped it over, kept on jogging. I didn't tell anybody about it. You're the first person who asked. That's the only reason I'm telling you. So I always wanted to use that clip in the movie to make a certain point near the end of the movie. But if we showed you just people talking, we interviewed a bunch of real cool people, but if we showed you just people talking, it would be a very boring movie. So anytime somebody's talking, we try to show you a visual of what it is that they're talking about. But where in the world are you going to find footage of a bee flipped over on its back? Right? That footage did not exist. We looked. About 9 months later, in the middle of winter, and I live in Windsor, and Windsor is the banana belt of Canada, but we get snow in the winter just like everybody else, and you don't see bees in the winter. I walked out onto my porch, and there's a bee flipped over on its back. And my cameraman happened to be upstairs. So I said, Nick, grab the camera. And I have this ivy growing around the porch, so I grabbed the leaf, extended it to the bee, flipped it over, and we filmed it. So that makes up about 10 seconds of this movie. So there's a lot of detail that goes into this movie. It took about 10,000 hours of effort altogether to plan it out, coordinate it, film it, cut it, put it together, and a lot of times things happen in perfect synchronicity. So I'll give you one more example. This story started here in Toronto. About 5 years ago, I attended an I Can Do It conference, and there was a guy by the name of Greg Braden speaking, and he was doing this audio-visual presentation, and he showed this footage, which I thought was incredible, of these 3 Qigong masters working on a patient in China. They had a tumor from the patient up on a screen, and you can see this tumor disappear in about 30 seconds as these 3 Qigong masters worked on it. And I thought that footage was incredible, so I contacted him by phone and by email, and I never heard back, but the thought was there. You know, I wanted to get that footage, and I wasn't able to. Last year, in February of 2009, we flew to California again to interview David Carradine and Dr. Ewan. It was during the Conscious Life Expo. And I saw this one guy was speaking there, and I didn't know anything about him, but I was just kind of drawn to him. He was like a short guy, bald hair, wore a robe. His name was Ming-Tong Ju. And I wanted to go see him, but he was speaking at the same time that David Carradine was having a concert, so I wasn't able to go. The next day I was walking up and down the aisles of the exhibit, and there was Ming-Tong Ju standing right beside me. So I looked at him and I said, what are you doing? And he's like, well, I'm giving Qigong treatments. And I said, I'll take them. He asked me what I was doing there, and I said I came to interview Carradine and Ewan for this documentary. And he says, well, if there's anything I can do to help you, let me know. And I'm like, sure. And I said, where did you learn how to do this? And he said, well, I learned in China's largest holistic hospital. So I said, did you ever see footage of this tumor disappearing when these 3 Qigong masters are working on it? And he hands me the DVD, and he says, it's right here. So I said, do you have the rights to it? He says, well, of course, it's mine. I said, can I use it in my documentary? He said, I'll do whatever you want with it, he says. It was actually that simple. So again, that makes up another 15 seconds or so of this movie. Anyways, without further ado, we'll turn off the lights and show the movie, and I hope you enjoy the movie, and thank you for being here.